បាទសួស្តីអ្នកទាំងអស់គ្នាតើសុខសប្បាយជាទេអ្នកទាំងអស់គ្នាអូខេណាយើងបានបញ្ចប់វីដេអូច្រើនឃ្លីបរួចទៅហើយដែរណាអូខេហើយយើងក៏បានបញ្ចប់រឿងThe Rain Camp សម្រាប់ part 1របស់យើងរួចហើយដែរណាអញ្ចឹងនេះគឺជាវីដេអូសម្រាប់ The Rain Camp ណា part 2របស់យើងណាចឹងតោះកុំឲ្យយើងខាត់ពេលយូរយើងអាចจะចាប់ផ្ដើមជាមួយនឹងរឿងយើងបន្តទៀតណាអូខេចឹងក្រោយគេ the family to discuss their daughter's future marriage behind her back. A faint smile played on Uganda's lips as she thought of the several young men who swallowed salivas at the mere mention of her name. There was Ketch, the son of an elder in a neighboring clan. Cage was very handsome. He had sweet, meek eyes and roaring laughter. He could make a wonderful father, Uganda thought, but they would not be a match. Cage was a bit too short to be her husband. It would humiliate her to have to look down at Cage each time she spoke to him. Then she thought of Daimo, the tall young man who had already distinguished himself as a brave warrior and an outstanding wrestler. Demo loved Uganda, but Uganda thought he would make a Uganda figure make a cruel husband, always quarreling and ready to fight. No, she did not like him. Uganda fingered the glittering chain on her waist. First, she thought of Oshinda. A long time ago, when she was quite young, Osinda had given her that chain, and instead of wearing it around her neck several times, she wore it around her waist, where it could permanently stay. She heard her heart pounding so loudly as she thought of him. She whispered, "Let it be you they are discussing, O Cinda, the lovely one. Come now and take me away." The lean figure in the doorway startled Uganda, who was wrapped in thought about the man she loved. "You have frightened me, Grandma," she said, Uganda laughing. "Tell me, is it my marriage you were discussing? You can take it from me that I won't marry any of them." A smile played on her lips again. She was coaxing her grandma to tell her quickly, to tell her they were pleased with Osinda. In the open space outside, the excited relatives were dancing and singing. They were coming to the hut now, each carrying a gift to put at Uganda's feet. As their singing got nearer, Uganda was able to hear what they were saying. If it is to save the people, if it is to give us rain, let Uganda go, let Uganda die for her people and for her ancestors. Was she mad who think that they were singing about her? How could she die? She found the lean figure of her grandmother barring the door. She could not get out. The look on her grandmother's face warned her that there were danger around the corner. Mother, it is not marriage done? Uganda asked gently. She suddenly felt panicky, like a mouse cornered by a hungry cat. Forgetting that there was only one door in the hut, Uganda fought this separately to find another exit. She must fight for her life, but there was none. She closed her eyes, lips like a wild tiger through the door, knocking her grandmother flat to the ground. There outside in mourning garments, La Bong stood motionless, his hands folded at the back. He held his daughter's hands and led her away from the excited crowd to the little red painted hut where her mother was resting. Here he broke the news officially to his daughter. For a long time, the three souls who loved one another dearly sat in darkness. It was for no good speaking, and even if they tried, the words could not have come out. In the past, they had been like three cooking stones, sharing their burdens. Taking Uganda away from them would leave two useless stones, which would not hold a cooking pot. News that the beautiful daughter of the chief was to be sacrificed to give the people rain spread across the country like wind. And at sunset, the chief's village was full of relatives and friends who had come to congratulate Uganda. Many more were on their way, coming carrying their gifts. They would dance till morning to keep her company, and in the morning they would prepare her a big farewell feast. All these relatives, though it a great honor to be selected by the spirits to die in order that the society might live. Uganda's name will always remain a living name among us, they boasted. Of course, it was an hour. Of course, it was an honor. a great honor for a woman's daughters to be chosen to die for the country. But what would the mother gain once her only daughter was blown away by the wind? There were so many other women in the land. Why choose her daughter, her only child? Had human life any meaning at all? Other women had houses full of children, while Uganda's mothers had to lose her only child. In a cloudless sky, the moon shone brightly, and the numerous stars glittered. The dancers of all age groups assembled to dance before Uganda, who sat close to her, mother sobbing quietly. All these years she had been with her people. She thought she understood them, but now she discovered that she was a stranger among them. If they really loved her as they had always professed, why were they not sympathetic? Why were they not making any attempt to save her? Did her people really understand what it felt like to die young? Unable to restrain her emotions any longer, she sobbed loudly as her age group got up to dance. They were young and beautiful, and very soon they would marry and have their own children. They would have husbands to love, a little house for themselves. They would have reached a maturity. Uganda touched the chains around her waist as she thought of Osinda. She wished Osinda were there too, among her friends. Perhaps he is ill, she thought gravely. The chain comforted Uganda. She would die with it around her waist and wear it in the underground world. In the morning, a big feast, too many different dishes was prepared for Uganda, so that she could pick and choose. People don't eat after that, they said. The food looked delicious, but Uganda touched none of it. Let the happy people eat. She contented herself with sips of water from a little calabash. The time of her departures was drawing near, and each minute was precious. It was a day's journey to the lake. She was to walk all night, passing through the great forest, but nothing could touch her, not even the denizens of the forest. She was already anointed with a sacred oil. From the time Uganda received the sad news, she had expected Osinda to appear any moment, but he was not there. A relative told her that Osinda was away on a private visit. Uganda realized that she would never see her dear ones again. In the afternoon, the whole village stood at the gate to say goodbye and to see her for the last time. Her mother wept on her neck for a long time. The great chief in a mourning skin came to the gate barefooted and mingled with the people, a simple father in grief. He took off his wrist bracelet and put it on his daughter's wrist, saying, "You will always live among us. The spirit of our forefathers is with you." Tongue-tied and unbelieving, Uganda stood there before the people. She had nothing to say. She looked at her home once more. She could hear her heart beating so painfully within her. All her childhood plans were coming to an end. She felt like a flower nipped in the bud, never to enjoy the morning dew again. She looked at her weeping mother and whispered, "Whenever you want to see me, always look at the sunset. I will be there." Uganda turned southwards to start her trek to the lake. Her parents, relatives, friends, and admirers stood at the gate and watched her go. Her beautiful, slender figure grew smaller and smaller till she mingled with the thin dry trees in the forest. As Suganda walked the only lonely path that would, it says, in the wilderness. She's okay. This is the end of our part 2. We will move to the part 3 soon. Okay. See you in the next video. Thanks for your listening and trying to read after me. Thank you so much for your watching. Bye bye.